Gon' free your mind. Gon' free your mind, yeah. This is free your mind. This is free your mind. Gon' free it up, gon' free it up. Gon' free it up, gon' free it up. Gon' free it up, gon' free it up. Free your mind.
We in here? All
Yes,
right,
sir.
yep. We live, baby, we live.
I actually caught it almost on time that time. I was almost there.
Huh.
Oh, what's poppin'? What's poppin'?
Finally got this layover, so we got the comments on the screen.
Yes, sir.
We ain't gotta say, people would be able to see it on screen this time.
Hell yeah. But let's go ahead and kick this shit off. Welcome
Yes,
to
sir.
another episode of the Free Your Mind podcast, where you can come to free your mind and help others free theirs. I'm your co-host, and I go by the name of Woon, and I'm all about balance like the sun and the moon. What's popping?
I go by the name of Selfmade, man. You gotta tap into self to know thyself always.
Always.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
There we go. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We back in the building. Shout out to everybody in the chat that's jumping in a little early. Y'all. Special guest
in the building.
Woo woo.
I gotta turn all these up. Hold on. I gotta turn all these up real quick.
Turn up the sound level. Yeah,
hold on. All right, but yeah, special guest. I got family in the building for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but I've had other family on the show. But the first time having y'all on the show, my cousin Nikki, shout out to you. Peace.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
And I also got mom-in-law, Crystal, in the building.
Hello. And thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a special one for sure.
Definitely.
And hopefully many more, more to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It's always
sure.
Like usually when people come in, we get some fan favorites, and then we get some people that be like, "Man, I want to come on again," and y'all can
be a regular.
Yeah, be a regular. It's good. And I love the balance, because now we got a balanced show.
Yeah.
It ain't just too many, too masculine energies,
Exactly.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
At the side,
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know, because sometimes I've been told I'm too masculine sometimes. So look, I don't, I'm trying. Let's see how that plays out.
Well,
So
trust
I'm
me,
trying
we've had
sophomore era. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're okay. But we've had people say that about other women that we had on here, and sometimes it's perspective based. If you're somebody that speaks your mind and says it kind of like with authority, with that hey, they might be like, man, she a little bit too full, you know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it may be them and not even you, so don't even feel bad.
It's all about
Yeah, so see that is segueing into what I had mentioned earlier about being true to oneself. And what does that look like? And what does that mean to you? And for me, being true to myself is being able to authentically show up in any room, in any environment, and being that person, that woman that sometimes is perceived as being too masculine. But that's because I speak how I feel, and if someone, I don't let too much slide. And I think that causes a problem for people is when you don't let shit slide. You know what I mean? So that's where the issue comes in. But
Like you calling them out on their bullshit.
yeah,
Right.
and I'm like, but I guess I have been told like it is the delivery. You can say
Right.
like fuck you, so so smooth and so cold if you use the right delivery. So I'm learning that piece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's honest. That's
100%.
honest. But
Yep.
then again, sometimes people got to pay attention to the message though, and not how it's delivered.
I
Yeah, for real.
agree.
Sometimes you can't sugarcoat every message you try to give somebody. Like me, it's hard for me to sugarcoat anything. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say it, I say it. You know, it's not necessarily disrespectful, but it's to the point. Like you're gonna get it. It's not like, damn, I don't know what he's talking about, or like, is he trying to say this? Like, nah, no, I know exactly what he's saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's
All-
like for some people, that type of delivery
you
can
know,
be a lot,
Right.
like
Right.
Hey, one second, real quick. I'm sorry. It seemed like Nikki. It seemed like your I don't know if your phone is going in and out as far as the volume.
Can you hear me?
I can
No.
hear you now. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But
And I don't.
it was going in and out.
Was it?
I think
Yeah, it
that's
was.
because we were all talking and stuff.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Is
just
it
want
okay
to make.
now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. No, because so what I was gonna say was just more so because that how someone receives information plays a part in how well communication is executed, even though like Cuzzo was saying, I'm blunt. I'm gonna speak my mind. I ain't got time for the sugarcoating. When I know that plays a part, though, it is a reminder that even though this may be just who I am, I gotta compare or adapt in that way because I do want to receive my message. I need you to understand what I'm saying. So if that just means because who I'm talking to, I know you receive things and it might be a little sensitive or whatever, then I need to address that person in a certain way so my message is still just received. So I can't always just back on like no, and that's part of knowing self. I know
Mm.
myself to do that because I know myself. So that's just a skill set in itself that you learn when it depends who you're talking to because everybody receive information differently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can't always just be that way.
Hey, it's funny that you bring that up. Because I talk to like my homeboys like every day, like you know what I mean. And sometimes we talk for hours on end, like from the beginning of the day till the end of the day. And one of the things that I found that I was using with them, and I'm just saying in terms of discussion, I was using the word courtesy, right? And that kind of goes to what you're speaking about because it's just like, okay, I am who I am, but it's just like if I really want to get my point across to you, just like you were saying, like I have to meet you where you're at, right? And not that I'm bowing down to you or anything. If I'm truly trying to get something across, I'm gonna give that courtesy to say, okay, I forgot I gotta talk to him like this, like you know what I mean. So I'm gonna try to find out that mathematical equation to make us work. I'm sorry. Go
Right.
ahead.
No, it was just saying, you want your communication to be effective.
Sure.
Communication is a big part in general, and it plays a part in feeling understood, being understood. So if who you are as a person and what you need, then you're gonna adapt to those things because we need to understand each other.
For
Otherwise,
sure.
a lot of time on this and go left in conversations because off of simple things like things not being delivered or received a certain way.
Yeah. And then we
And
Mhm.
gotta incorporate like triggers, like this person is triggered by this, and just certain little different things here and there. But yeah, you right on point with that.
Mhm.
yes, I agree. I read somewhere to your point, Nikki, on being aware of the person who you are speaking to, and your message. And um, for me, I'm always got some sort of self challenge and just who I am and trying to be, I don't know, like an adult or whatever. But um, I have taken, I have taken better. I am trying to take better courtesy of others when delivering my message. Like, not, as you said, well, not like feeling like I'm bowing down, because that used to play a part in the way I deliver. So I'm like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just off the top. I'm just gonna say it, and how you take it is how you take it, and we could deal with it later like that. You know what I mean? But then that it messed up a lot of relationships, with family and friends, because they felt like I didn't take into consideration how they felt. And I thought like I could just use one blanketed tone just across the board with everyone, and I learned the hard way that you cannot do that, and I'm like, man, and I had to go home and, sit back and think and always apologize, and I don't like having to do that, not because I feel like I'm a sucker or something like that, but it's because I should know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should know to take a minute to evaluate who it is that I'm talking with and present that information accordingly. That way I don't have to come back and apologize, because then the message is lost. You know what I mean? Now they're focused on their feelings were hurt. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, yeah, definitely. And I thought, like, being here today, I shared with family that it is a great opportunity to put the articulation, learning how to articulate outside of just work and just, family and friends,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's all about the self-awareness. As you grow and you go through experiences, that's when you become self-aware. Right now, that's just reflection.
Exactly.
You are saying flaws and all, but you're aware of them. That means you're still tapping into yourself. You can't expect to, excel in any aspect if you don't know who you are. You have to have a foundation. You got to have a starting point. So our experiences, good or bad, is what teaches us that, and we have something to reflect on.
Hey, cuz I ain't never heard you talk like this, man.
I know, Nikki. I said, Nikki bringing it out.
I was out here not tapping into self, huh?
I'm saying, like, what?
Oh shit! I said, okay. Look, you're gonna make me tap into my little corporate professional lingo.
Girl,
Right.
that's the number one thing I'm obsessed with, is learning who I am. Like it's a fucking turn on. Like, just to know who you are in all aspects, I'm obsessed with that. I'll do anything that's all about like self-reflection, mental stimulate. When you make me think and I get to notice something new about myself, like I love that. So that's what I be hibernating on, because I've always been over here in self.
Okay.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? But for myself, is going through the self-reflection, reading, and just what I've been, most recent was like learning to control emotion. Like my that's a whole nother subject, but like that does go into
Yourself.
how I spoke, would speak to people and delivering that message. It was a part of that as well. So yeah, I self-reflection is priority right now for me.
Real quick, we got moms in the building.
I see.
What's going on? This is Woon's mom.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
And this is my cousin and my mom-in-law, mother-in-law.
How you guys doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
Well, thank you. How's your day going?
Hey, my day is going fantastic.
I heard that.
Hey, you can't let the day make you. You got to make the day yourself.
It's always another opportunity, right? You got to make the choices. I heard that. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
true.
just I just wanted to hop on. I saw y'all on. I just wanted to hop on before I went to bed because I got to get up. I got a flight to Sac in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay. You can't
Oh,
make out here.
Yeah, I'm
that's
I'm 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 just going to my best friend. Her mom passed. I'm going to her funeral, and then I'm coming right back on Sunday because I got to get back to work. So
Oh, okay. My condolences.
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
thank you. But anyway, I didn't really get a chance to see what are you guys talking about tonight.
So, Crystal had brought up a topic talking about what it means to be um,
True to
w-
self.
true to self.
Now, what is being true to oneself? What does that look like to you? And also, what does it mean? What does
Right.
it look like, and what does it mean? For me, I said it means to be able to be my genuine self in any environment. Um, with the understanding that it just, I mean, like when I go into my meetings at work, I mean, obviously I do have to tailor who I am, but there's always a sense of who my authentic self that comes through. And I feel like that is important because there was a time where I just was all like trying to figure it, trying to figure out who I am and trying to shut down one part of me to be so yeah.
Yeah. Let me throw this up there because some people was asking what the topic was.
Good old self awareness. That's such a big umbrella, too. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Many things fit underneath self aware. I mean, that's who you are. Every
Yeah,
aspect falls into that category. You know.
it definitely it's all encompassing. Because like you
Cool.
said, experience, like we're having an experience right now.
Yep.
As soon as you get off of this camera and walking, that's like life itself is an experience. So that the journey of figuring self out is lifelong, because you're
Okay.
continuously figuring yourself out. The more you continue to go to work every day, you're gonna have a different experience every time you go to work. You're gonna have a different interaction with somebody. If you go out to the store, every time you do something happens. You know what I mean? Each of those different experiences help shape and guide you to who you are becoming next. You know what I mean? Because we always changing and shifting into different perspectives and ideologies and all of that type of stuff. So it's like the journey continues as long as we keep pushing forward and we recognize all those things that you were saying, Crystal, as far as like uh the awareness of like, okay, I used to do stuff like this, and now I'm working on changing to doing stuff a different way. And each time you run into, we call it mathematics, me and Woon, but it's like each time you run into an equation, once you figure out the equation, and the equation is just a situation, you know
Mm,
what I mean? Once you figure out the equation and you move past that situation, anytime you're presented with that equation again, it's like, well, I already passed this test. I already know what to do. I already know how to maneuver past this in a certain way to where, you know what I mean, I'm good. So
gotcha. Yeah. My thing is, being true. I was like, I don't know how to get into it, but it's like being true to me is like there's two different lives. I lived a different life before. I'm always going to share this part because this is where all of this comes in to play for me. I lived a different lifestyle before, many years ago into who I am today. And so being true to me is trying to find that balance and being, I can't take away those experiences that I had before. Those are always going to be there. But I'm also a professional, educated mother, grandmother, friend, daughter, sister, all of that. But it's like, I can't always, be, I could. And that's when I was like in the corporate world and, some will say like whitewashed or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's, I mean, I understand that we have to play, adjust. Let me just say, we have to adjust. But at the same time, what am I being true to myself?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you know,
Right.
now when I walk into a room, I can be like, hello. I mean, I don't know, it just slips out little stuff. And I don't feel guilty or like I have to explain that to anyone anymore. You know what I mean? I've come to accept my past, and it makes me who I am today.
Exactly.
And I'm not a bad person, never have been. But again, like I said, I had a different lifestyle back in the day. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's where the question is like, what does it look like today? What does being myself look like to me today? Is walking in and being unapologetically me, man.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
it's just what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah,
No.
hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was muted out because my truck is doing a regen right now, and I know it's kicking off like a loud noise, so I don't know how much that's picking up on everybody's end, or is it clear?
I don't hear nothing.
Okay, perfect. Hey, because what you just now said, um, and I'm gonna have to call you Mama Bree at this point. Um, but what you just now said, right? And it's I'm gonna take what Selfmade has said and add to what you just now said about the formulas, about the mathematics, right? Because we do deal with mathematics a lot, and sometimes when we're coming into these different
What is going on?
experiences, right? A lot of the times, we're just ultimately learning how to express ourselves, right?
Mm,
Truthfully, right? And just like you said, without like unapologetically, right? So now if we're looking at, okay, everything is kind of like a formula, right? So when you're at work, you have this formula, you have your work formula. Just like you said, some people would say that that's whitewash, right? But
right.
at the
Water
same
game.
time, the only thing you're doing is saying, okay, well, I'm in this situation, so I can't give these motherfuckers a 5 - 1, right, to get that 4. So I got to give them a 2 + 2. Like, you know what I mean? And then so when
Mm-hmm.
you get into somebody else's situation, you might give them a 3 + 1, and then you're dealing with them like that. But then it's like, but when you're dealing with yourself, it's just like, okay, I got to know all these different mathematical equations that I'm going to deal with internally. That way, because sometimes they get pressed in us, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes we can't express them, right? So they're pressed in us. We're trying to figure it out. But as soon as we start to express a little bit more, express a little bit more, and be in a lot of different experiences, aka situations, we figure out, oh, okay, now I see why I'm responding how I am to certain different people. So that's a mathematical equation right there. This person, I may have to do this. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
all about, just like how Seth was saying, learning yourself and then expressing these things in that mannerism, right?
Mhm.
But just like how my intro is, because I know that earlier you mentioned balance, right? And I'm all about balance. Like, I'm a Gemini, like, you know what I mean? So when it comes down to just knowing, like, okay, sometimes I got to get these people, the unfiltered, like, me, I don't give a
Right.
fuck. Like, y'all gonna take this shit and be mad at me. I don't care. Because if I'm speaking truthfully from my heart, then I'll accept all the repercussion that comes with that, right?
Right.
But then it's just like, okay, for the people who may not understand when I'm being
See.
as expressive or as free, because they may not be as
Oh
free,
my
they be like,
gosh.
oh, well, this dude, well, he just
You good? Cause I
talking
can see you.
shit. So now I have to, calm it down a little bit, like, you know what I mean? So again, like the mathematical equation, just like you just got to know, who you
That's
dealing
so
with,
weird. You can't hear me?
We can
situations.
hear you.
No, you're good.
We can hear you. Can you hear me?
So to piggyback off of what you said, well, that's where the challenge was for me, and sometimes still is giving it to them raw, uncut, because it's just like, I mean, not only because of the lifestyle, but I grew up in a household where my mom, was my mom is very outspoken, and she
Right.
ran the house. So I saw, that's what I saw growing up. And then in addition to just the life I led, and then being a single mom for the most part, there's just, again, experiences, as you said, these all build your character, right? And then, and just how you interact with people. And so I think that it gets misunderstood most of the time. And, it's just been,
Nah,
it's been a doozy, man. It's been some, it's been interesting, you
I
know.
hear you. And as me
Okay.
being
No,
somebody,
can you hear me?
yeah,
I don't know why I can't on my end.
We can hear you and see you, Nikki.
she can't hear us.
She can't
That's
hear
so
us.
odd.
That's up because she's on that phone.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but the experiences that we have sometimes, it's a half and half. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's gonna say, okay, this is time for you to speak expressively, truthfully, honestly, brutally, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And then experience is gonna tell us, hey, sometimes you gotta chill a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? And
And that's what I'm trying to learn is like reframe. You know what I mean? Like, or another way it's been framed is like not every you don't need to respond to everything. You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? Like letting some shit just slide per se, And I'm like,
Right.
okay, and not feel like I'm being a sucker, like I'm balanced, because then that plays a part. But I mean, I have a whole lot to live for, So I think about my grandson first and foremost, and that he helps me to calm the fuck down.
Sure. And I get it because I used to live a street life and shit too. I used to gang bang and all the shit. So I understand when you're saying feeling like a sucker, like, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, man, nah, bro. Like, you just gotta have that nah. But just like I said with the experiences, it's just like, okay, yeah, sometimes you do have to say, okay, yeah, whatever. But
Yeah.
this is where it gets to you knowing yourself. Because I
Right,
know I'm not no sucker, like, you know what I mean? So it's just
right,
like I'm gonna let that slide because I'm not a sucker, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like if you walk by me and you step on my shoe, it's up to me to say, did this nigga just now play me and walk up and didn't say excuse me?
right,
Or am I gonna say, hey, my bad, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I might have been in your way. I might have been too close. I might have been whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And then, so for me, I have to know myself and respect myself enough to be able to put myself in that position to whereas when I was younger, I'll be ready to turn up. Like, you know what I
right,
mean? So I was just like, I know I ain't no sucker because the shit happened before and I checked that shit. So now it's just like the experiences allow you to say, I know what I'll do. Like, you
right,
know what I mean? Or this motherfucker could have seen me and he on some hating shit because I'm fly. Like, you know what I mean? And then I have to do that math. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he just hating
Mhm.
this shit. So with
man,
me knowing that, do I have the responsibility of saying, Woon, don't beat this nigga up? Or Woon, do you really feel like going to jail because you know what he's trying to
Right.
do?
That's
Like,
exactly.
if you know what he's trying to do and you already know
right,
yourself, you're already looking at the math. So it's just like
What do you got
now,
to prove?
yeah, right. Now if you do something, now you're in the wrong because you know better. This is a real life example of if you know better, you're gonna do better type shit.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
So if you know yourself, it's just like, man, I'm gonna let that shit slide because dude don't even really want these problems. He
right,
slick did some shit. If a nigga
right,
really wants some problems, he gonna come up to you and punch you in your fucking face. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. That's why it goes back to that trying to, like when back in the day, it was like, oh yeah, if you still figuring self out, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta prove not only to myself, but to this nigga that he, what I'm saying, he got the wrong one, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's like once you do that enough, it's like, and then yeah, you go through the experiences of doing that, and then shit, probably getting your shit punched in, or maybe end up in jail a couple of different times, whatever. Now you like, yeah, I'm done with having that experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool off of that. You know what I'm saying? I know at the end of the day, I know I'll get down. I know I'll scrabble. You know what I'm saying? But is it worth it for me to go through all the, you know what I'm saying? Everything that I already know in my mind, I'm probably going to have to go through.
right,
And I could just
for
say, you
sure,
know what? You got it, bro. I'm finna keep on. You know
right,
what I'm saying? I got,
for
But
sure,
people got kids, you got certain stuff now to where it's like,
the
I'm
fucked
not
up
even
thing,
finna jeopardize what I got going on for, you know what I mean?
right,
for
right.
sure.
I think the
The
word
thing
that you
about that is
use. Oh, ahead.
Just real quick. The fucked up thing about that is that we all come to a certain point in our mind and think about certain shit, but we're just not thinkers. We also have emotions, right? So when them feelings get to popping, like, hey, nigga, even though I know I'm who I am, when them emotions come in, like, but nigga, I feel like that's
I
what
want
I
to act
feel
on
like.
these.
This is trying to play me, or I feel like fucking this motherfucker up. So getting past those feelings is the
For real.
hard part. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. What you said, Josh, about not having anything to prove. I feel like that really narrows it down for me to the core of being true to myself, is because I feel like I don't have to prove anything to anyone, not only just like former life, but who you are today as this person today. Like, when you are confident within yourself, you don't have to prove anything to anyone, back in whatever it may be. So walking in with that confidence of like, I already know what I'm capable of. But it's not even what I'm capable of, because that's like sounding like I'm still with the shit. So it's like what I would say is like, I already know what I've done. So like my ghetto report card, like, let's just say, right? So it's like, you already know what your report card is, what it shows. You ain't got nothing I don't have anything to prove to anybody, whether it's past, present. It's like, no, you accepted me for who I am today,
Yeah.
And you have to want to evolve. You know what I mean? You have to want that. Otherwise, you're not going to make the conscious decisions to make a different choice. You're not
Right.
going to make a conscious decision to move differently in a situation unless you are seeking advancement in, evolving as a person. You have to want to say, I'm fed up with this situation. What do I need to do to move differently? You have to experience that. Otherwise, if you're content and you're okay, then you're not seeking a higher level for yourself. You're not seeking to see what else you can do, or what, like, that's what I have a thing with, always wanting to do something new. Like if I go out to eat, let me go somewhere I ain't been before. I want to do something new, because then that's a new memory, a new creation, a new aspect of that. So you have to want that to be the outcome, and make those decisions.
Sure. So like I see in the comments that Goddess Divine did mention the word convince, and I agree. I mean, like, being I'm tired of trying to convince a motherfucker to sit there and take me for who I am today. You know what I mean? And I mean, and I'm loosely speaking today on here because I was briefed that we could speak this way. Now, if I were in a meeting at work, or obviously whatever, in a professional environment, my language would be much different. But I mean, just to the right, I'm not trying to convince anyone of my value, what I have to bring to the table, or I'm not who I used to be. I'm who I am today. And people try to box you into who you were. And I find that, man, that gets on my nerves, like, I put a lot of work into being who I am today. Trust me, like you said, Nikki, a conscious effort. You know what I mean? To be able to articulate, to be able to, once to, what is it, like, research oneself, self-reflection, and to have someone or people sit there and try to box you in. I'm like, man, I ain't got time for that. I don't got time. I think,
It's not, everybody's not worth your time. You know what I
man.
mean? So when I think you just kind of start to build like for me, I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't care. There's so many people in this world, and we live in a world nowadays with social media and so many different avenues of word getting out there, or storylines. And I don't have time to try. That time can be invested in me, not in what worry about everybody else doing. Because there's a vast world out there, and I can't please everybody, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, there's and I keep on, every time I hear time, me and Selfmade had a conversation, and he was saying that time is frequency, right? and that's true like a motherfucker. So when you guys are saying, you know, I don't have the time to deal with that, imagine that it's not that you don't have the time, but you do. I'm sorry that you really don't. But if the time is frequency, then you got to understand that once you come from this frequency and you're programming on this frequency, and then you go here, it's not that you need to convince them; they need to get on your height. Right?
Okay.
So they need to get on the
Exactly.
type of time that you on or the frequency that you're on. Like, you know what I mean? Because I trust me, I deal with that a lot. I when I say that I come from, like, my mom was just now on here, but I was trying to be courteous and, you know, because I thought my background was loud. But she'll tell you we come from nothing. Like, you know what I mean? So from me coming from that, just like I said, street life and everything. And my mom knows I could say this freely. Like, you know what I mean? Any and everything that's in the streets, yeah, I was in that. But now I'm an author of children's books. You understand
Okay.
what I'm trying to say? So when it so coming from one place to the next, it's never an easy transition internally, right? So coming from one transition to the next, it's not going to be easy externally, right? And there go my son right there. What's poppin', son? So,
Yeah,
so
boy.
when we talk about people that still try to box you in, just like you said, Mama Bree. When it comes down to that, it's just like, okay, they're boxed in,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So this is coming back to knowing yourself. It's just like, hold on, I know that I switched my frequency, and you're still trying to hold me to that. For what? How does that benefit you? Because
Right.
I'm already where I'm at.
For
How
real.
does that benefit you?
For real. For
Yeah,
real.
and you get to that place, you feel it. So I misspoke when I'm saying I don't have the time. No, I have time. I'm just very selective on how I spend it, right?
That
Right.
part.
I'm
That
Right.
part.
what energy I put into it, what shit I tolerate and I don't, and what I walk away from. And you get to a place where you are deciding what energies or frequencies to have around you. And
Exactly.
people don't fit in, it don't bother me. It's like, okay, you weren't meant for me. Like, and that's how you look at it. Because I'm not out here to please. I know what I attract. And when you have energies around you that are not in line with your authentic self, you feel it, because you feel that this don't feel right. I don't like being around. So you start to learn this, what type of energies you want to have around you. You know, because when I move in certain ways, if it's not the way I know I should be moving, that's really how I want to move. When I move that way, it's like fuck, like it don't feel right. Like I knew I should have did what I wanted. So you gotta.
Okay.
It's crazy because that I just got a download of some whole other shit. Like thinking about it got me thinking on a macro level and a micro level. Like on a macro level with the planets, on a micro level when it comes to elements and stuff. Like I'm getting scientific with it, my bad. But either way, it just reminds me of like how certain elements come together. Like it's certain core elements that come together for specific reasons. You know what I mean? And if they not coming together for that reason, then they not coming together. They're gonna go somewhere else and come together with a different set of group, and that's gonna produce a different thing. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
so same thing with what you're talking about. Pretty much, it's like you find your core group, and if it's tight, it ain't got no cracks. Y'all can rock for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's limitless at that point. You know what I'm saying? Versus like what you saying, you dealing with certain people, you got to figure this out and figure, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you do and you make it past that and that's what you grow into, then that's what you grow into. You know what I mean? But if not, then you got to be cool with like, all right, I got to let this one go. You know what I'm saying? And keep everything else tight. You know what I mean? So no, that's real.
You know what the coldest piece though about it all is that the people that have been the most to judge and try to box me in and shit like that has been family. You know what I mean? And that's the coldest piece right there for me. And you know, that's a whole nother subject. But people will say because they know what I was before doing and then see me today, and just like, how could you even, it's unrealistic to them how the transition occurred. But like you said, Woon, it's like they've been left behind. I said we had the same 24 hours in the day. I work out. So when people, well, let me not go there because I'm not all fit like that. But people be like, oh, like, damn, you look nice, whoopty wop, right? And I'm like, okay, thank you. In my head, I'm like, shit, we got the same 24 hours. It's just how I choose to, spend my time. And that goes for education, family, and whatever else you put your energy into. So it's not that you think you're better, or like you're trying to shine and make other people look bad and stuff like that. It's just like, shit, I know what I came from, like, as a child, and like what I want and what it's instilled in me to want to get out of this life. And then not only for myself, now I have my family, my offspring, So it's not only just me that I'm trying to do this for. You know what I'm saying? It's beyond me, man. And I get like, it's not just for me. When I'm dead on, I want what I say to be resonate in my kids and people that I talk with. I come across, like, learn from my experiences. Like, if because I want women, men, young, old, to know that if I can make it, like you, Woon, out the streets, you can make it, man. You can make it. It's not easy, but you're gonna lose a lot of motherfuckers, but it's okay. Sometimes it gets lonely, but shit, I'd rather be lonely than to be around a crowd of motherfuckers we're all getting locked up, getting, I've been there, done that. I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, there's a to add to what you're saying, there's I don't know if you tapped in with the rapper Fabulous, but he's had said a
Oh
line
yeah.
that kind of stuck with me. He was like, when you coming up and you are going for what you're going for, he was like, you're gonna be the great hope and the scapegoat, right?
Yep.
So imagine
That's
that.
the Cold Summer song.
Oh, you already know. Hell yeah. So
I like
also
it.
on that type of time, it's just like, if you have, especially with family members, like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes people sit around and talk about you, and that's their relationship, right? They don't have nothing else to talk about but you,
Right,
right?
right.
So imagine you start doing good, that's going to break up their relationship because they don't have any other bond other than for you to be their bond and shit, right? So imagine that you're no longer doing that, then they're gonna be like, the only thing that they can hold on to hold on to the bond is to hold on to what you used to do. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm trying to say? So they're
Mm-hmm.
still like, yeah, she 2 plus 2, and you already on to some quantum physics shit. You feel me?
Right.
Well,
So
you see,
that's where they at.
we look at family, and when they violate, it's like fuck, like like family. But I learned a while ago, like family is human. Yeah, we're related in that way, but right, but you're still human. So just because you're family doesn't mean I should look at you and say you're exempt from this behavior. You're incapable of doing A, B, and C. Like that it doesn't give you a pass. So unfortunately,
Right,
we set a higher expectation for family, which is why
right.
they stand out more when they violate. But at the end of the day, you're a human. So that's me setting too high of an expectation. You should just get the same as everyone else if that's the case, because the reality is you're prone to making mistakes or errors or poor choices just like any other human walking the earth. And when you learn that, when you think on a certain mental pathway and you're having a conversation with someone who is not in the same place in life, the same thought process, then you're not going to connect anyway. So you're
Right.
expecting someone to understand when I know you're not on the same level as me mentally. You might be.
Do you find, do you find,
Have a
Nikki,
bond for that.
so question, do you find yourself when you identify that this person is not, on the same level, do you find that you, how do you approach that? Do you tend to
It depends on who it is. So if it's just a stranger in passing, then our conversation may get cut short, or I may stop pressing an issue or whatever that may be, because I know we're not thinking the same way. Because when I say we're not on the same pathway, it doesn't necessarily always have to mean that that person is below me or anything. It could just mean that where I'm at mentally, so maybe what my focal point is in life, how I view things because of something I went through, it may not align with someone else. So when you try to have certain topics align with someone else and you guys are in such a different place, so I handle everyone accordingly, because I don't, that's just no different than having a close friend and you guys see different on a certain topic. So I know we're not going to have the result conversation be where we, at the end of the day, we kumbaya as far as understanding. We can have an understanding, but we may not come to an agreement because we just view that differently. So, but you learn to then pick your battles, right? Like, why,
Right.
if I waste the energy, when like you're not thinking how I'm thinking. So how do I expect you to understand what I'm saying?
That part.
Because I asked that question because it's like, do you give people, because I could be like real quick to like stop fucking with somebody, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we're not on the same, so it's like, shit, I don't have the time. Like we said, yes, we do have the time, but we choose to utilize that time and effort elsewhere, right? So it's like, all right, I see that we're not on the same page, so let me just let this go. We don't need to not talk anymore. But then on the other side, you get other people's perspective and they're like, well, maybe, like you could give this person a pet, like talk to them, like give them another chance, right? So do you find, and then, when you do that, it's like sometimes it works out, okay, but then sometimes it doesn't work out again for whatever reason. And then you're like, man, I'm mad at myself because I'm like, man, fuck, I should have went with my first mind. It was like not to fuck with them no more. You know what I mean? It's like then I'm learning to understand the saying of, when a person shows you who they are the first time, to believe it, because
Okay.
you know what I mean? Is it like, how many chances do you give a motherfucker to fuck, like before they get it, or before you say that's enough?
See, I think
you put up a time frame, you set up some sort of boundary.
you can, I mean, I think
I'm just going off of the comments. She said, give them grace just as much as you give yourself grace. So it's, at the same time, it's like, I get both of what you're saying. Like, yeah, you can go with your first instinct and be like, yeah, I'm cool. He not, she not, whatever, not at this level or this frequency. I'm finna slide. But then you also got the potential, like what you can see, like, oh, I see potential in this person to get into this level. Do I take the time and see if that can happen? And then that's what I'm saying, that's when you give yourself a certain time frame. You set it up, all right, I'm gonna try for 3 months, and if I don't see no growth in 3 months, then you feel me, that's it, I'm out. Or it's like, I see some growth in this 3 months, and if it continues to progress, then you can continue to as long as it's not, you feel me, draining you too much, trying to build, you know what I mean, or get somebody to a certain level mentally. But if it's not, then it's like,
see, I'm with pure frequency. That whole don't fall for the potential, it's an illusion, because it's really
you have to.
It is.
You give them time sometimes, like, because what is it, like a child? When they want something, they're on their best behavior. You know what I mean? And then when they get it, they revert back to how they've been acting. So then you say give them 3 months, right? Okay, 3 months. I mean, they don't know that. You're right. That's true. But like, okay, they come through, they're like slightly getting it, but then it's like, so it resurfaces that you're not on the same level.
Wait, let me ask you then this.
Okay.
Have you seen people change?
You know what? I am a living testament to people changing. So
Okay.
Yeah.
what's a good
That's
girl?
the opposite end of that illusion. Like
But
it is
look,
it is
no,
very much an illusion, you know what I mean? Like seeing the potential, because it could either come to fruition or it doesn't, you know. And if it doesn't, then that illusion was just in your mind that you was, you know, creating. But
okay,
like if you
but look, I have changed, right?
Both of
But a lot
uh-huh.
y'all.
of motherfuckers didn't walked out though too, and didn't
Right,
stay
right,
around. They
right.
didn't give me that grace. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
kind of made me a little cold sometimes because I'm like the close. You know, I thought they had my back. You know, I thought they would be there, and they skated out because I wasn't moving fast enough for them, or I wasn't moving how they wanted to. So it makes me look at it like, dang, you know, I don't know.
You guys are like, no, okay? First of all, you have an open conversation about, I will say with the comment, the grace, 100%. And the reason why I say you give grace is because I've been given grace. I've done things where someone gave me grace and I was happy for that. So I'll give grace because I do feel like everyone deserves another chance. Let me see if you're consistent. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it like I'm doing.
Ooh.
I look at like, you know what? Okay, I see
That's-
you. But now let me see if this is how you move or if this is really just what it is. You giving me a chance to now observe you in a different way. That's how I look at that. Secondly, before I even do the whole, am I giving you 3 months and all that? I don't do no time frame. But before I do any of that, I need to assess who you are in my life. What is the purpose you're serving while you're around anyway? So before I
Okay.
entertain the time you're about to get or what, I need to say, why do I have you around? And is it something that's serving me a purpose? Because if it's not, then my cutoff game is real tough. And it's no disrespect. I'm okay with you being out my life. And there's no problem.
Okay.
But
Hey,
if
wait.
for your value, then I need to assess, okay, what's the role you play? And if it's something that's of value like that, then my energy on how I handle you is going to be differently. Not everyone's going to get treated the same. You play a different role in my life. I have
That's
different
true.
levels of friendships. I don't
That's
need to
true.
off everybody. I go around, okay, I got boundaries. I know me and you, I don't need to pretend. I know when I see you, it's all love, but we know we don't talk on a regular. I know if I want to go here, so I don't need to go around trying to kick people out or do this and that. I move how I move and just flow and let things happen as they will because I don't put any extra energy into things that don't give me the same. So when
Okay.
you're important in my life, then you receive the energy I give and I'll expect that back. And if not, then I reassess how much I want to give because your role may not be as valuable. So no, you don't get
Okay.
the same grace.
Yeah, see, and you said something that I'm sorry. Were you finished?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, okay. You said something that I was about to say, but you attacked it from a different way, right? So for me, how you test somebody's frequency is where they're at frequently, right?
Mm.
So the wherever they frequent at is like just like you said. Well, are you just doing this just for this time being, or
right.
or what does that shit look like, right? So if they're frequently there, it's just like okay, this motherfucker keep coming back, like you know what I mean. So now that's going to keep on shortening the fucking gap that's between our spaces and shit, right?
Yeah.
So the more that they frequent there, it's just like okay, I see you coming back because we, as far as this show is concerned, right? We've talked to different people, different stages of life, different things like that, and it's just like we're doing this, like we're just, car to brick wall type shit. You feel me? But then later on, they'll come back on some crutches and they be like, "Hey, that shit that you said, it was kind of right." Like, and it don't be, it don't. Sometimes it don't be 3 months. Sometimes it don't be six. Sometimes it be a whole year. Like, you know what I mean? But that's when you have to determine like, okay, is these motherfuckers just talking to understand and feel me and to make a connection, or are
Mm.
they talking just to be heard?
Or
Are they trying to
handle this situation this way on a fluke. It was a genuine my bad. Or is this literally how you move? Like you're gonna
exactly
you're going to show me who you are over time. So that's why I feel like grace needs to be given because none of us are exempt of making a poor choice and
for
making a
sure?
wrong decision. So if I would expect grace in certain dynamics when I genuinely like fucked up, then I owe someone else that if they're worthy of that. You feel?
Right.
It's
And see,
true.
that's what I was saying. Like, so if they're worthy, they'll drop little hints to let you know, like, hey, even though I ain't feeling you right now, I'ma still, text you and at least say hi. Like, you know what I mean? Just to let you know that I'm still trying to make that connection. But for the people who totally just, go against where they need to go, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because just like you said, like we're all trying to figure this shit out. You feel me? So if they need to go take 10 spins around the corner, like, you know what I mean, or around the block or whatever they need to do, then come knock on your door and be like, okay, I just wanted to know if I can borrow some sugar. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like until you know how to ask for sugar, it's still gonna be bad. Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes that grace, time, it what they say, what's that, time heals all or reveals all or whatever, like, you know what I mean? But just like we were saying earlier, you can kind of see the ones who you would give more openness when it comes down to grace, as opposed to ones who just like, man, they don't get it. Like, even with teachers, like, you know what I mean? Teachers be like, I could teach this person this way, I could teach this other kid this way. This motherfucker got to switch classes. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he's got to get up out of my class, period.
Right.
Like, so,
And that
sometimes people ain't ready.
they're not ready. And that's, to go back to the whole self-awareness, if you don't know yourself, then in those situations when you're trying to assess who to have in your life and for what purposes, you're not going to know what you need from someone or what role they should play if you don't know who you are. So you
Right.
might have people running around here with these different dynamics and relationships or going through the same cycles, and it might play a part that you got two people who don't know who they are. So they should have cut ties a while ago, but they didn't realize that role was has ended. And
Facts.
you know
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, cutting ties. hmm And knowing people's role.
it,
Yeah. I think that goes both ways, knowing your role in their life and theirs in yours, you know, and not overstaying. Like they say, know when it's time to leave, whether it's a job, a friendship, a relationship, or whatnot, not overextending yourself in that. So, yeah, good
Real
points.
quick, we got a couple people trying to see what the new guests have to say about the conversation. Uh,
For sure. Shout out Rainy in
so
the building right now.
yeah, we got Rainy and Achilles in the building.
He's in the building.
Hey, 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 hey.
And while we pause right here, shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to
Yeah.
everybody that's watching from YouTube and from Facebook. We appreciate it. But yeah, Randy, you got the floor.
I'm kind of in between listening to you guys and watching Golden State get whooped on. So bear with me. No, but I did catch a lot of gems in there, and I can agree with a lot of what we're saying. You know what I mean? And I know, just like personally, I've been dealing with a specific individual that I've known for a long time, but because of the role that they play in my life, it's not where I could just like completely cut them out of my life. You know what I mean? And I just make sure that, like, in dealing with those types of people, you know what I mean, the ones that we like may have a kid with, or that's like an actual family member, you know what I mean, a close one. I just move accordingly and navigate, you know what I mean, day by day with them and the frequency that they're on. An example is just like 2 days ago, I got hit up by a certain individual, and I could tell they weren't in their right state of mind. And they were like, "Hey, you think you could?" And I'm like, "I can't help you out." Like, knowing that this person is like kind of like an anger trigger for me. So I'm not gonna have you like get me out of the frequency that I'm on, right? So I'm just gonna disengage from the whole conversation. And I explained that to them. I said, hey, check it out. Like, right now, I don't think you're in the right headspace to be around me. You know what I mean? Maybe call me back in a couple of days. But right now, I'm just not willing to sacrifice my own good energy that I got going on to expose myself to whatever you got going on, right? So I think it's like that, just moving accordingly with different people, because I know what type of frequency that I'm on right now, and that's what type of frequency I'm trying to stay on. You know what I mean? So when I read people's energy, like whether it's a first meeting a person, I could read people pretty good, and I'm usually like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? From the gate, and I'm not gonna continue to like sacrifice like what I've worked hard for, because when we talked about change, I've been to prison, I've done a lot. Now I'm a drug and alcohol counselor. You know what I mean? I help other people now navigate their lives, you know what I mean, for the better. But there's a lot of people that still I see circling back around that try to bring this old toxicity and this other type of old energy that I'm just not operating on no more. And I'm like, you know what? Nope, you keep that shit over there. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? But that's just kind of like where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? I have no problem. I'm on that let them theory right now. You know, it's like if they're doing this, this, and this, I'm not going to allow it to disappoint me because I control my emotions. They don't control how I feel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them, do whatever they need to do, but they're not going to be around me while they're doing it. You know what I mean?
Distance, yeah.
You know, the funny thing about that is, and I know that you said that like towards the end of your spiel, you said that people give you energy, right? And sometimes people don't even understand that from their perspective, they're giving you negative energy, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, they're giving you energy. So you can
Yeah.
take that energy and do whatever that you want to do with it, right? So it goes back to what we were saying earlier about knowing yourself. It's just like if everybody on here seen the movie The Black Panther and shit when they made a suit, that suit like anytime that it observed like bullets and shit like that, it uses it transforms it into power that he can use however he wants to use and shit. You feel me? Like
Right.
on some alchemy type shit. So we're natural alchemists if you know yourself enough on that level to say,
Yeah.
oh, that's the energy you coming with. I'm gonna need all that. That's why people say, thank you for my haters, because my haters give me all the energy. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
No, I
when,
get it completely because, like, if you tap
yeah,
into like the Ascetian Bible, going back to Kemet, you know what I mean? They talk about the vampirism, and I'm not talking about like actual vampires, but the people who exchange energy, and there's certain levels of vampirism when it goes back to that time. You know what I mean? And they'll talk about people who will actually give you good energy, but people who are just there around you just to take that shit. You know what I mean? And those are the people. Just I'm not allowed. No, you're not allowed to around me. Fuck that. You ain't coming to take my shit.
That boundary.
You're
Yeah,
glitching.
you kind of now I can't really hear you because it's like yo something's on your speaker or something.
Can you hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. um, but no, I was just saying, like, you get to set boundaries for yourself. Like, you don't have to, analyze. You get to just, okay, like you say, act accordingly. That's fine. So I can't change how you're acting, but I get to change how I respond to it. I feel like handling you like this. This is how you will fit in what I need. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, son? How you feeling?
Yo, no, I'm
Man, your voice is
Man.
making mine, boy.
Deep voice, man.
He said, "What's
and
going on?" Just trying to see what's your take on that conversation.
um about like people's energy.
Yes, sir.
I would say, I mean, if you're around bad energy a lot, that's just gonna go toward you. You're gonna have bad energy too. So, um, I would say just be around good energy. To be honest, if you see that it's bad and it's gonna affect you, then don't be around it. If you think it's good, then just stay around it, and then it'll benefit you. And then it's just it's like a chain. If you get good energy, you can provide that. That person can provide it. And just keep it going.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's good or bad, we take it in, right? So we could feel it. We're choosing to say when you want that positive energy and vibe, it's because I know what that feels like. I want to feel that way. I want to experience those emotions. So,
Yeah.
It's just like right at the end of a hard day at work, you all stressed out, and then you go to the house and you hit some weights and you start working out. You releasing all of that negative quote unquote energy in a positive way. Now you utilizing it and it's benefiting you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
I'm about to take this and go play some basketball, or I'm about to go do something and that's going to actually, benefit me or my family or something like that. You know what I mean?
So
you
you
allow the negative around you, going to consume you. It's going to take you in. You're going to feel that. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that it plays a part. Like, that's why you don't want that negativity. I know it's going to take over. You're going to be around somebody who's just having a fucked up day, and now they're just negative and saying all that. It's like that wears on you. Like, you fucking my day up now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
how is seeding on over here. Whether you can be in a relationship, your partner's just having it. Like, man, like, you know.
I want to say this too, because she said alchemy. Y'all, we was mentioning alchemy. You want to do the alchemy in the right way, because I could also see it in a whole different light, to where it's like that negative energy that they take in, they using it in a way where it's like they going to grab the bottle every day, or you know what I'm saying, they're trying to mask that feeling instead of being able to express it and utilize it or transmute it in a way to where it benefits them. They can't necessarily transmute it, and now they're going down darker holes, you know what I mean, because they don't know how to get
I
that
was going
energy
to
out.
tap in on that. Yes. Real quick, 2 points. If I forget, remind me, but I wanted to get on that. One is, the energy and using your energy for something else. Once I'm always going to put a plug in for fitness, but it's like once I got out of, push it. Okay, so I would say I push weight. But okay, right? So then I'm like, all right, I'm not on the streets anymore, so I push weight in the gym. So you know what I mean? So the gym is where I found myself at. It was just like in there, man. I could just zone out, and for me, that's my therapy. Like, it is where I found my groove. Okay, so that's my plug for fitness. But second, we've been talking about, like, energy and letting people know and things like that. But I also wanted to tap on it, or tap into, like, some people don't know or are afraid of the positive feelings that the good energy can give them, because they've never had something, they've never experienced that before. For me, I could speak that. I know, being like around, people without drinking before, or like around people just on good vibes. I'm like, man, these motherfuckers are weird. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like good mood. You know what I mean? I'm like, I wasn't used to that. I'm used to everybody like tripping out. Everybody's funking with each other. So it's like, how do so to the divine goddess divine's point, and anyone's giving grace, it's like, I guess, I can see that. If I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to take energy, and I mean, I've learned how, but I have to remind myself, maybe when I encounter someone who doesn't know how to accept my positive energy. I'm going to use an example. I'm at work. I sending out emails. I'm always like, good morning, good afternoon, and people are like, oh, you got such good energy, blah, blah, blah. One lady told me, she said, not everybody is like, likes, like, they don't like that. She was speaking for herself. You know what I'm saying? And that was the first time, like, and it was a one-on-one interview. I mean, email. And I thought to myself, I read that email and I was like, damn, what? Like, how can positive energy be a negative thing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, she's in a different, and now we're at work, we're all professional people, we're in meetings, and in the meetings with everyone, she seems to be like okay with it, but then sends me an email on the side saying like how, and I was just like blown away by that. And it gave me, it gave me a different perspective, that like, shit, not everybody feels that, but not everybody may have, been exposed to it, or they're not open to receiving.
It's the fear of the unknown, right? If you've never had it before, you don't know what it's about, you don't know how to receive it. And something as big as something as positivity or good energy, yeah, that could be foreign, especially depending on where you come from and where you are. And I'm a teachable person, right? So I don't fault anybody if you don't know. If you want to, I'm all there. Let's talk about it. What do you need? You know what I mean? Because that's all it takes sometimes. And you get to pick your circle, right? So I'm not going to surround myself with people who aren't trying to elevate or who are not going to keep it real with me or who are going to, you know what I mean? You get to pick your circle. So those energies that you have around you, that's a reflection of what you're saying you want in your life and what energies you want to consistently share, right? So if we have one that's off or doesn't fit the vibe, then that plays a part on you too. You know what I mean? Depending on how close that circle is also. So that's the beauty in saying you get to pick what you want to have around you and why.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to what Mama Bree just now said about the positive energy, right? And when you was speaking about it, it reminded me of the Lego movie, right? Because in the begin, if everybody's seen it, you know he's going around everything is awesome or something awesome, whatever he was saying throughout the whole movie. Then they kind of almost tried to strip him of that, right? And then towards the end of the movie, it was like, hey, how come you like, you know, where'd that spark go? Because even though that they don't want to see it as it's happening, they recognize that they need that shit for the balance. Like, you know what I mean? So, and sometimes, and on the streets, we call that don't let nobody trick you out your position, right? Because people could be feeling a certain type of way, just like what you said, Nikki, just like, I'm not even ready to receive what this person is talking about. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, but and that's on the external side. Internally, they know they need all that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're trying to fight it because just like you said, they it's foreign to them. They don't know what this shit feel like.
Right.
But to go what you were saying earlier, Mama Bree, with the iron, with the I'm sorry, with the weights and going to the gym. I had came up with this analogy, and it's just like, you know, when we go to the gym, we call that shit pumping iron, right? And you're releasing steam. So it's just like when you're ironing your clothes and you press that little thing and you release steam and you knocking out wrinkles in your clothes, like, you know what I mean? But when you pumping iron in the gym, you're knocking out the wrinkles in your life, like, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
speak or whatever, like, you know what I mean? So going to the gym, really, that's a real dope way of exchanging that energy. Or we're all grown here, sex, that's another positive way.
It's some way to get it out.
Shit. Hey, I ain't been in a relationship in 2 years, so I can't. I don't know.
Look, that's my choice.
Hey, I know. After I said it, I was like, "What the fuck a relationship got to do with it, right?"
We gonna talk a little shit on here.
As always.
Oh,
For real.
man. But yeah,
That's
again,
real
being
though.
true to oneself is just, I think, being comfortable within your skin in any situation that you are faced with, you know, and being confident in what you bring to the table and not letting anyone, at least to me, that's what it means. And not letting anyone box you in or try to, what is it? Make you fit in, you know, what is make you short or dim your light, you know, all of that. Nah, I'm cool. Like, I am who I am. So you either take me as I am or we're good.
Yeah, we in high school. I don't gotta sit at your lunch table. Like, what kind of
Right? Okay.
Right.
Right.
And it's okay. Like, I think when you get a difference like that or someone who handles it like that, people take offense. And I'm
They
like,
do.
I mean no harm. I wish you the best. Like, I have no ill. I just make a conscious choice to say this is what it is. You know what I mean? But like, it gets taken the wrong way.
Right.
Like, it's not okay to make that choice for yourself. You know?
Yeah, can we ask our guests, like, you know, we've been kind of chiming in on it, but like, I'd like to hear, you know, Rainy, and how do you pronounce your son's name?
Achilles.
Yes.
Achilles.
Okay, Achilles.
He's my favorite Greek warrior.
I was like, I thought that.
That's why I named him after that.
That's
When that movie Troy came out, it was lit.
it. Was the one.
Wait, he's speaking.
Oh, I still haven't seen the movie.
What?
You haven't seen
I
it?
keep on telling him you gotta watch it.
What? Oh Lord, you
It's gonna be his favorite. As soon as he do watch it, it's gonna be his favorite movie. Watch it. Like,
Right.
oh, okay.
It's kind of, you know, just getting to, you know, being able to receive it not just watching it, but being you know what I mean, being
Yeah.
clear enough to see what they're talking about. So it'll hit him when he's ready, or
Right.
it should be synced up right on time when he watch it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
So what is it?
I'm sorry, Randy, you got the floor.
What does it mean to be being true to yourself? What does it mean to you?
I'd say being true to yourself. I'd say like trying your hardest at all times and don't like set limits on what you think you can do. Like try to always succeed in things like capacity or point, just to know that you're not like later on you could be like I could have did this or I could have did like more. Like I always try to like do as much as you can, and then just like be honest with yourself, and then be honest with yourself, and then just yeah, I say that's pretty much what I have to say for that.
Okay. I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to, give you like an opportunity to engage like in the conversation because I know we've been kind of, talking about it. But and what about you, Ronnie? Right, Rainy?
I mean, always being honest with myself, you know what I mean? And like we were talking about, even dealing with people, right? Being true to myself is making certain sacrifices not to even have people maybe I care about or love or like around me if I know it's gonna hinder my growth or pull me, you know what I mean, off of, the energy field that I'm on right now. I'm like right now I'm in a really peaceful state. I deal with a lot of like negative energy at work because I'm dealing with people on meth and fentanyl and all these different things. And I'm trying to help them navigate, the prison system or getting their kids back and all these things, right? So like in my personal life, it's kind of like I got to make sure that I have that balance, right? Because balance is key. I'm able to go in, with a fresh start and a clear mind. But by the time I get off work, I'm like, boom, my energy's got to be cleared. It's got to be clean, positive. And as soon as like those other things start to come around me, you know what I mean? I have to push those out. And that's really me being true to myself, making sure that like, even though I want to spend time with this person, you know what I mean? And I know you guys talked about time. Right now, I'm not operating on the frequency that maybe they even need me to be on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So being able to pay attention to that, because if I'm coming straight from work and you're trying to have me come meet you or do something with you like right after work, you're not going to get my good energy probably. You know what I mean? You're
Okay.
still going to get you're going to get some washed up energy, that isn't probably the best in that moment. So, you know what I mean? Doing what's best for me at all times, you know what I mean? And being true to myself is making sure that I stand firm on my boundaries, that I let people know though, you know what I mean? Being strong in my communication
There you go.
with others, you know what I mean, is me being true with myself, because I'm gonna let the people around me know, just so that I don't, you know what I mean, I'm not responsible for how they feel about how I'm moving or what I say, but I want them to know like it may not even have nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? So having that line of communication, I think, is even me being true to myself. You know what I mean? Making sure that everybody around me knows like what type of time I'm on in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's not good right now, like, or whatever that looks like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
That's good.
and you know what I
Good,
mean, and
good.
just continuing to elevate and advance. You know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
like what I'm doing personally and professionally. You know what I mean? Every single day.
There you go.
You know?
So I have a question. I know because you mentioned that you deal with a lot of negativity, and
Mhm.
there is like caregiver burnout.
Mhm.
So how do you replenish your energy, like outside of work, or like maybe better framing it is like, what is your self care? Out, like what do you do for yourself in addition to everything that you just mentioned? But like, yeah, what is your self care for you?
So I tap in on levels on a big different spiritual level. I'm really big on keeping my chakras aligned and activated, and I'm into Kundalini activation, continuing to study different things. Like earlier, I mentioned like the Ascetian Bible, where in there they do talk about like subtle energy and even like sexual energy and just our energy footprint. And if our energy footprint doesn't even align with other people, that's what I mean, where we're off kilter and stuff like that. But I do a lot of like going to the ocean. I'm an hour from the beach. I do that like a couple times a month. I'm in Oregon, so I'm from Cali, but I go hiking. You know what I mean? I meditate. You know, I do sound baths. I go to rebirthing. Sound healing like retreats and different things like that. I do a lot of self care, but like lately it's the playoffs, so I'm watching my NBA games. But I did just go to the ocean this weekend, though. You know
My
what I
bad.
mean? But
That's
I
cool.
gotta go to watch my playoffs.
Yeah. And the reason why I asked that is because I am, and thank you for sharing that. I asked that because I mean, as Nikki knows and Josh knows, I not suffer. I don't, I'm a homebody and I'm trying to like get out of that, right? And I find it very like inspirational, motivational when people do. I mean, I do things. I like to shop. Okay. Yeah, I like to shop, look good, dress nice and shit like that. But it's like getting out the house. You know what I mean? And so, and always just interested in like what people are into, like, what do they do? Because maybe it may be something that I may want to try, So that's why I asked that, like I bought some yarn to make like fucking those, what are those things? The
Crochet
blankets
blankets.
that those blankets that you use your hands to make the blanket. I tried different, but Nikki's really good at like doing stuff on her own too, traveling and stuff like that. And so that's why I asked.
Yeah, no, that was a great point because remember I asked about crocheting earlier behind the scenes before we started to chat. But just speaking to the creative
I didn't
outlet.
hear that question. My bad.
Now remember we was talking about the Dallas and going out downtown and
Oh yes.
I had brought it up, but I'm just being silly right now.
Okay, okay.
But but the creative outlet though, right? When it comes down to that part, that plays a major part in being able to transmute that energy. Like if we listen to music, and I'm saying on the receiving end, because artists they take a lot of energy and push it into the music, the paintings, the poetry, the writings, the whatever. So, and just like you said, anything that you can create, right? That will be a great way to come into that self of okay, let me tap in with this. Let me focus on myself and not only because as you're creating, you're taking in and releasing at the same time,
Mm,
right? Because you're taking in everything that you've gathered from again the day, the week, the month, whatever, and then you're releasing that. You're actually filtering it through your being and then you're putting it back out, like, you know what I mean, and putting your energy on it. And so you can actually look at that every day. If we're talking about a place to come into your own zen, right? You could just look at your creation and be like, I did that. And to take it a step further, that's why sometimes people procreate on just that alone. Like, you know what I mean? They have kids. Look at my baby. My baby changed my life. I created that. I'm seeing it from a different perspective. So that's like, that's my thing. And you know what I mean? And sometimes that's still a creative thing, right? So
mhm,
as long as you have some type of outlet, some type of passion, some type of thing, and it don't even have to be nothing major. Right? In your house every day doing a robot. And then
You
you're
gonna
like,
figure it out.
yeah, exactly. And then after a while, you're gonna be like, hold on, I kind of got this. And then like, so for me, I have because I deal with a lot of energy, a lot. Like just like I was saying earlier, like I talk to people damn near all day, every day. Like you know what I mean. So it's just like for me, I have a lot of things that I also do. Like being I do music. Like just like I mentioned earlier, I got children's books. Like you know what I mean. I write screenplays, skits, whatever. Like you know what I mean. I do like a lot of different things. So I'm able to channel my energy into all those different things. But when I want to completely shut down, I be in my head a lot naturally. So
Right.
I'm always in my own space. Like
right.
you know what I mean? And so sometimes when I'm dealing with other people, I ask them like, okay, what's going on with your world? Like, you know what I mean? Because I'll be so in my to myself, it's just like, now that I'm coming out of my world, I'm literally coming into your world. So I'm giving you all of me. As soon as I leave up out of my internal, I'm giving you me. Like, you know what I mean? But when I'm not engaging with you, I'm back into me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's back going into my own zen, my own space, my own personal peace. And then you know what I mean? So when for me, I create that space because now it's just like decorating your home, right? It's like, what do you want in your space, like at your house, like when you come home, like you know what I mean. So all of those things I keep within my own psyche, within my own energy, within my own frequency, to where it's just like, okay, home is lit as fuck, like you know what I mean.
Okay.
So when you start to build up that internal part of yourself,
Mhm.
home be lit, like you know what I mean. So again, sometimes it can be an external thing that you could tap into it in order to to get that peace, but it's always reflecting something from your internal side, like you know what I mean. So it just depends, like so again, so you can create which comes from within, or you can just go within and just be chilling.
And I'm at that point of like I'm used, like as you mentioned, always in mind, in my own mind, in my own, and in my own space now, but and then the gym, that's anybody that knows me knows that's my thing, right? But I'm like wanting to expand on things, like outside of just that, because I'm like, okay, I need to do something else. So, and it's exciting to like, it's like learning yourself. It's like it is, it's like learning, it just if you just caught that, yeah, I'm like, oh wow, that is what that is. Yeah, it was like learning, so like trying all of these different things and like, and it's cool, it's like, dang, I didn't even know I liked that. Like, I
Yep.
didn't even know that, because I was so used to like only hanging with these certain people. They were like, that's square. You don't do that. You know what I mean? We don't do that. And then it's like, but inside, I'm like, but I really want to try that. And then now when you're like, now I'm chilling, but it's like, I'm gonna try it and I want to find out for myself whether or not I like that or not. And it's like super cool. So that's why I like asking people, like you said, like I like asking people like, what do you got going on? It's not because I'm trying to be nosy, but I might want to try it. And then if you've already tried it, you could give me a little heads up, like, oh yeah, like your experience and what I could not do,
Right.
so what to do and what not to do. So I like that, like my arsenal, my self, what is it, not like self, oh my god, what did I ask you, Rainey? Is like, what do you do? Oh, self-care arsenal, my self-care arsenal,
Yeah.
adding to that. So outside of the gym. So yeah.
No, yeah, you good. And just like you said, certain people, again, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes people try to trick you out of your position. Like, man, that's square. This is this and this is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
I've
because they ain't there.
right. I've started telling people because I'm like another thing that I do, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier. I take bubble baths, and I've quoted
Okay.
this. Niggas be like, "Nigga, you take a bubble bath?" Like, yeah, real niggas take bubble baths, bro. And I'm gonna stand on that. Like, you know what I mean?
I support it. I support it.
Okay. Right.
Hey,
And I
Everybody.
don't care how nobody feel about it because it's for me. I don't give a fuck what
that's
y'all
what I'm
got going
saying.
on. Real niggas take bubble baths.
Somebody gonna always have something to say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like you,
Okay.
if you listening to everybody, then you ain't listening to yourself. Just off the rip,
Right.
So it's like that's cool. You can say what you want, whatever. I still do what what I like, what fills me up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mhm.
I
So
remember thinking about taking a bubble bath. I'm like, nah, nigga, I'm too hard for a bubble bath.
right.
Until I took one, I was like, oh shit, hold
It's
on, wait.
lit, huh?
Okay. Well,
Hey, you don't know the fire hot till you touch it. Like you gotta go through the experience. It's
We
that's
did.
that's why it's there for you to go through. You know what I mean? Like if you
Facts.
curious about something and forget what anybody else is saying, you know what I mean? Like because you're gonna shut yourself out of an experience that could change your whole life. You know what I
that's
mean?
so true. That's so
So it's
Facts.
like, why would you limit yourself on that type of time? It's like, nah, I'm gonna try everything that I want to try because that may just evolve me to a point where, you know what I'm saying, like I got a whole different outlook on life, my perspective different, I'm hanging with different
true.
people, I done gained new friends with new
Right.
opportunities, and it's so
Right.
much stuff that can come out of just not being afraid to
Right.
have these different experiences.
Yeah.
So
The
to
right
that,
change your life. So,
right. So to that, oh yeah. So won't like okay. The whole we used to say gangsters don't dance, we boogie, right? So
Right.
I never really dance. I'm like, nah, I could do a two-step, I could do a two-step. But then, as I've become more comfortable with myself and not giving a hoot about what other people think, I dance by myself when the jam comes on and I'm feeling it. And my son-in-law can attest to that because, and Nikki, I think you were in the garage when we were there. And I'm like, DJ, turn it up. You know what I mean? And I get up and I'm just dancing it by myself. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm okay with that because I'm feeling this beat. I love music anyways,
Right.
So I'm like, what do I need to sit inside? I'm dancing inside. I'm like, I want to, like a little kid. I want to get up. I want to, but before I would just like suppress it. You know what I mean? Because I had an image like, you can't, like you said, too hard for the streets, right? But now I'm
Right.
like, you know what? And I'm just dancing. And people, they like look at you and they're like, oh, go girl, and I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, maybe they'll, I've had women, men
Exactly.
come, dance too. And it's not about like trying to like, get at each other. Nothing. It's just in the moment of feeling the music and we're
Freedom.
sharing that experience. You
Hell
know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And it's like, oh man, this is just magical right here. Because then when we're done, you just go your separate ways. Back in the day, in your younger years, it's like somebody's trying to holler at you. You feel obligated to give them a number or you got to converse after. No, now you're grown. It's like, that was cool. You know what I mean? And I like that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you did you get an opportunity to see the Sinners movie yet?
Yes.
Yeah, it's what you just now said remind me like towards the end of the movie, like after the credits was rolling, and he was like, man, that one night that I got the opportunity to go play, I got the opportunity to see, grown folks doing their thing. He even got some, he was in there, but he wouldn't take it back because it's like that freedom, that expression of self that, hey man, like, I'm in this world, and he was kind of cooped up in the church, just like how you said, in the streets, like, you know what I mean? We kind of cooped up, we kind of hard, we kind of guarded and shit. That's probably, how he was feeling in the church. But when he got a chance to get out, it was just like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
you can't
Just
exchange
other
that shit
shit.
for nothing. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like that level, because what you said, like suppressed, right? Because we
Yeah.
got suppression, then we got expression, right? So it's just like when you get that opportunity to express what have been suppressed, it's just like it's a fucking magical moment. Like
It
just like you
is.
said, like that shit, it just takes you to a whole different place of bliss.
It
Like, you know what I
does.
mean?
It really
You
does. It really
you
does.
being
And
in that place, sometimes like if like you said, if you get caught dancing and you find yourself in your own little mode and you have people around you that know you for like your old self and they see that aspect of you, you know what I'm saying? Like that also could pull out a certain aspect within them, like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, because they
that's
could see the freedom, they can see the freedom in you, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh wait, I want to have that experience too. So at the same time of you just being you, it's
right,
like you also are giving other people an outlet of like, oh shit, like I
we
ain't
can
gotta
dance.
be so uptight. I ain't gotta
right,
be like, what's the point
right.
for what, you know?
right. Yeah, and that's so true because I remember back in the day when I would be the person watching, others enjoying themselves and inside feeling kind of jelly because I'm like, I wish I would allow myself to be that free and experience those things. I just would not do that. And you look back and you think all of the opportunities, the friendships, the good times that you miss out on not allowing yourself to experience these different good vibes. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's good
right.
vibes, man. Good vibes. That takes you to a whole nother level, And as you mentioned, there was I was met with a friend of mine a couple weekends ago, and he shared with me, I'm like, hey, so what's your type? Like, female wise. And so he's like, I'm like, you fuck with like X, Y, and Z, right? You like white chicks, right? He's like, nah. He's like, no, no, no. He was like, no. He was like, and I'm like, okay, well, what do you like? And then he was like, well, I don't have like a type, He was like, it's like the vibe, the energy. He was like, why would I? And the way he explained it, I mean, I've heard it, but I guess it's at different points of your life on when you're receptive, because he was like, like, he was like, why would I? He was like, it's the experience and the energy. He was like, because if I came outside with I only, and I meet someone and she's not what I came out with, idea of what I'm trying to deal with. He was like, I am like, cheating myself of an experience. And I'm like, man, that's a
You be
good way
passing
of,
up on your future thing. You know what I'm
you
saying?
know,
Like that. That could be him. You like, yep, nah, I'm good. You like, you don't get to experience it. You ain't gonna ever know.
right? And I was just like, man, that's cool, yeah, I never thought, I never really looked
Cause
at
you
it like
got those
that.
people that's like,
Oh,
it be, black women, black men on both sides of the spectrum, like, oh, why is she with a black man and she's a white woman, or vice versa? You know what I'm saying? Just hating. They got full podcasts. They dropping articles. They taking people picture and posting it up. Like, how can she do this? And it's just it's a lot of the like the stereotypes and
right.
the
Mhm.
trying to put it in a box, or what I'm
Right.
saying, trying to shape it to be able to name it. And sometimes it's like, nah, just let it be what it is. And
That's control, though. Those people probably they have to control things in their way. So for them, it's probably beneficial to look at it like that and not have an open mind into just letting things be naturally. Because that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I could see that too. You know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
it's
definitely
it's
an
like
aspect.
it's just like giving somebody a box of crayons and a fresh coloring book, and they be like, just take the black color. You like you know what I mean? It's like, hold on, I got all these
All
colors
right.
here.
Exactly.
I mean, just do the black. Are you insane?
Right. What
Right.
about all
Right.
that? Show
All them colors over there.
Right. No, that's a good analogy. That is a good analogy right there. Yeah. That's a whole nother. I thought we were going to talk about that tonight, was relationships, but mm,
Yeah, no, definitely we can run another show for sure.
yeah, for
That's gonna be
sure.
a whole another great topic and shit too. And
Mhm.
I see y'all be on point with the conversation, so
there's a
I know
lot of
it's gonna
that
be a good one.
in
Yeah.
yes. And then, like, from the perspective, obviously from the woman side, but like, different backgrounds, and man, we had a conversation, and it was good. We were touched on it, and that's what led to today, us, coming on today. But
Mhm.
it is good. It will be a very good conversation.
Yeah, nah, that's why I said it when it was happening in the moment. I was just like, dang, this could be on the show. You know what I mean?
It's so quick too. We got deep quick.
We
Yep.
did.
And y'all was like, oh, I'm with it. Usually, you know what I'm saying? Like Woon, no, we be telling certain people to pull up, and it may take them a whole year, like, just to get the courage to, you know what I'm saying, come on the show. And so when y'all was like, oh, I'm with it, like you said, when I talked to you, Crystal, yesterday, when you was like, it wasn't just the drunk talking, like, it wasn't
Right.
just the drink, like, I'm like, oh, okay,
I
for
was for
sure.
real.
So,
Okay. Yeah, and it's
like,
not, and then it's not like man bashing. We're not, it's nothing like that, or woman bashing. It's definitely just sharing experience, And that's what it was, you know.
Different
And
perspectives of, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying, the masculine side of how, you know, men usually look at it, you know, versus
Yes.
the women.
Because that's how you
mhm,
evolve anyway, right? You get to analyze everyone's perspectives and now apply it to your own. And what points did you hear? So this is like you. At the end of the day, we were still investing in our growth by just doing it because you're allowing yourself to listen to everybody else too on the same topic. We can only come from one perspective, right? So you have to still be able to entertain the other sides.
Mm-hmm.
right.
It was
Yeah,
dope. It
it
was.
will be definitely good. It was, you know, I like the idea because we were, you know, it stemmed, the root of it was like man, like child, we could go deep as childhood, you know, and like how it influences or has influenced your relationships today, and not just romantic relationships, because any, you know, interaction, co-worker, friend, brother, sister, those are all relationships. And
Facts.
so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I always like to make that clear to people, because when we get on the topic and just, you know, in conversation, and it's like, yeah, relationship, it's not always romantic, you
Mm.
know. That's definitely one aspect, but there's, you know, relationship, tons of different types of relationships. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and how, you know, so it'll be a very good topic.
Yeah, no, that's we've been meaning to, you know what I mean? Like the topic you had today was a dope topic, but we have been
Sure.
meaning to have a relationship, you
Relationship.
know, show for sure for the longest.
Let's do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for today's topic, you know, it was just something that I jotted down while at work today. I thought that would be something for future, but he picked it up for today. So, you know, it was cool, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Glad that,
it
you know,
happened like that.
yeah, exactly.
It was
Mm-hmm.
lined up. It was already synced up in the
okay.
universe.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, we got one for the next one then, you know, relationships. We'll figure out the time frame, dates, and you know what I mean, all of that, and you know, get that one rolling because I know that one's gonna be a good one.
Sounds good, y'all. I'm gonna sign off. I gotta eat because I didn't eat after working out, and
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say thank you for having me, and I look forward to, you know, jumping on again. And thank you for everyone who's visited and had commentary. Look forward to meeting up with you all again.
For sure. We appreciate
Yeah.
you for coming through.
Thank you.
Yes.
Signing
Yes.
off.
Thank
Oh,
I'll
you.
see
wait,
you all.
sound.
Peace.
Get the
To the
sound
next one. To
down.
the next one.
All
Yeah.
right, all right.
Thank you again.
Cause
Dope experience. I talk.
I'm sorry, I did that late.
I know.
All right, y'all.
All right, cause thank you.
Yes, yes.
To
Bye.
the next one. To the next one.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, just let me know when the next one is.
Dang, the Woon's hitting it out at all the wrong times.
What the hell, Woon? Fired.
Hey, because I keep on clicking and it's probably pausing every time I try.
Yeah, hopefully, like, you know what I mean? It ain't a game I want to watch because I had to watch the Timberwolves whoop on the Warriors tonight. So,
Right. No, we appreciate you for sliding through.
For
For
sure.
sure, as always.
absolutely. Just send me the link for the next one.
All
All right,
right.
y'all take care.
Got it. I got that one. It was on point.
That was good. That one was solid. Yeah. Trick, yeah, we closing out right now, but we didn't touch on the relationship show this time. So
Right.
I'm thinking maybe, well, whenever, you know, what's up with Woon, probably next week.
Yeah, no, for sure. And of course, just like you said, you know, when we get closer to the week, I know from here I'm about to be in Cali. That's gonna take a couple of days. So I probably, if what you say that they what days are good for them?
Tuesdays, Thursdays,
We
pretty
can
much.
probably set one up for Tuesday for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll let you know when I get in Cali though, when I get closer to the date and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, but shout out to the chat, man. Yeah, y'all definitely had the chat lit for everybody that was on Facebook, and I was kind of like trying to see both, but I think how it's set up right now, I think how you set it up is I can see them right there and shit too.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Hey, I see Scorp in the building. He was saying that he was one of the people who's kind of like a little nervous to come on and shit. That's why he said.
Right. Hey, Squirt. Hey, man, we didn't already have the bills. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pull through, man.
You gotta pull up.
We be chilling, man. We be chilling. It don't be too crazy.
Especially next show.
Mo.
Relationships, yeah,
for sure. Because we're gonna need another, you know what I'm saying, male masculine's perspective.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
So been going in on that shit lately too. So
because the females is thick now. They you know, they coming through now. They sliding.
Exactly, with the game face too. They was ready. They came ready tonight, boy.
I
know, Mama.
It was trying to come out. You know, it's been in there, ready to go. You know, so it was wonderful building and, you know, hearing the different perspectives. Like I said, I ain't heard Cuzzo, you know, talking like that before, so that was, you know, a good thing to witness and just to, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, like I already know she, you know what I'm saying? She was already there with it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But just to hear it come out vocally on a platform like this with, you know, certain types of conversations, you know what I mean? It was a dope show. It was a dope show. Yeah, definitely appreciate them for sliding through.
It was, man. And again, you know, moms came through. Achilles is starting regular and shit on here too, even though you know. But you know, little Sonny be coming through and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. Look, you okay? We got yours. I got mine in there too now.
I forgot all about that. I was hella into the conversation. So for the people who may be new to the channel and shit, and I mentioned this earlier, I'm an author for children's books. And you can find the children's books everywhere that they sell books, like, you know what I mean, online or whatever. The main one being Amazon. But if you want to get some autographed books by me, you could just tap in, hit me up, Facebook or whatever. You can even email. Is our email up for this? Do we got that? Like,
I got it. This email?
Yep. You can even tap in right there, and you know, we could set up the payment plan, whatever. Cash App, Zelle, Apple Pay, whatever choice that you want to do. Just hit me right there. Then I could ship them out to you personally, and I do send tracking numbers and shit. So it's lit. Okay.
I was late. Right. I was late. I was trying to, you feel me, switch and do some, you know what I'm saying? Some whole other shit.
As long as it came up while the books are still up, then it's good.
Right. Like it got there though. I finally got my collage, man. If you is trying to get into some high frequency music, you know what I'm saying? You tired of listening to whatever it is you listening to, definitely tap in, check it out. It's on all the online platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, you know, the suches and such. Also got just beat tapes too, so to where it's not any lyrics. If you just want to listen to the music and vibe out, got that too. So check it out.
My personal favorite from what he's displaying right now is that high frequency one. Fire.
Yeah.
That shit is fire.
That's a monument. That was during a monumental time too. Like it was the time frame and just that whole project was crazy.
For me, that shit synced up. It just synced for me like that.
Right.
It was just like you said for you. Yeah, for me, it was that too. That perfect timing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, other than that,
yeah, I mean, we good. Till next time, probably Tuesday, not Thursday.
Right. We're gonna be talking about relationships.
Right. Get your dogs and cats sprayed and neutered.
This is about to go down. All right, y'all.
Gon' free your mind. Gon' free your mind.